are Tyrians. We are many races, several professions. We practice the arts of combat as well as healing. We have foes, and we fight them without mercy. And it's time for us to claim back what is ours. It's time for us to claim bacteria from the
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 29 of the Chronicles of Tyria podcast, Guild Wars 2 podcast for fans by fans. Sorry we kind of took off the past 2 weeks, with Christmas and New Year's and the holidays, and honestly, you kind of get fat and happy after eating. You just don't want to come out and do this. But because we said we'd be back today, here we are, so we're going to get right down to it. This is going to be nitty-gritty, all business this time around in our new direction of shorter shows as I lengthen it by talking. So, on this week's show, we're going to be talking about Fractals of the Mist. And also, we are going to be talking about the news that came out about 2 weeks back from Isaiah Cartwright, where he talked about upcoming changes to Fractals of the Mist. But we're going to do that not in the news piece. We're actually going to do that more at the end when we're talking about Fractals of the Mist. So, that's pretty much it. So, CoT Weekly starts now. Alright, good evening everyone, I'm Lagwyn.
And I'm Kaysee. Just about an hour ago, ArenaNet pushed out a small update about Wintersday. This is what they have to say. Wintersday has ended and the residents of Lion's Arch are tidying up, humming those bell choir tunes as they work. They savour their memories of snowball fights, presents, toys and Toymaker ticks. And so the Lion's Arch Council sends one last merry wish that the joy you felt that Wintersday will last all year long. Happy New Year! The Wintersday merchants will remain in Lion's Arch for a while longer, allowing players to continue to exchange gift. And on top of that news, we've got the Black Lion trading company Gem Store will stop selling Wintersday items after 11:59 p.m. PST on January the 3rd, 2012. And that, even though that is going away, they're releasing a new 3-day New Year's sales, which means that new items every day will be for sale at drastically reduced prices from the 4th to the 6th of January. Other than that, the only other update was that some of the Mesmer skills have been tweaked, so if you play a Mesmer and that's important to you, you can go to the website or the update page and just see what changes they've made.
Yeah, there's not much to the Mesmer, so nothing to really complain about. I actually think it may almost be a buff in some ways. Just to touch on quickly what Kaysee just mentioned, things we don't know what's going on sale in the gem store. We do see an image of character slots, so if you were wanting to buy additional character slots and you couldn't wait, like I should have waited, apparently they may be on sale. Also, looks like the full makeover kit, also possibly, there's an image of that. And then there's an image of a chest. It looks like I don't know, it's orange with black and white stripes, so it makes me think Halloween with green flames on it. Why would they put a Halloween item on sale? There wasn't even chests you could buy.
Yeah, it looks
for
like
Halloween.
it looks like the consortium chest, but with green flames, so that's very odd.
Maybe that's something new, maybe we'll get old stuff, who knows. Stay tuned tomorrow as noon Pacific Standard Time. We'll see what goes on sale first. We're gonna have kind of a short news bit here, but do you guys remember Sea of Sorrows? I remember the book that they had mentioned was gonna come out in January of this year. Well, January is here, but I've got some bad news for you. It will not be coming out in January. A fan of Guild Wars actually reached out to Rhys Sosby herself and sent her an email and said, actually to her personal email, which I don't know how they got it, I don't know, and said, I really I'm sorry to bother you with questions, but will we be seeing Sea of Sorrows? They sent this back in November, in January. And she said she was working on the final edits right now, and the final draft edits were due December 7th. After that, it'll go to the publishing house, they'll check it for typographical errors, then it gets sent into publishing. So she said they don't have a final publication date, but the current date that is listed is June 2013, and she said it takes about 4 to 6 months for publishing the whole process to end. So June 2013 may be a good estimate. So fingers crossed that we'll see the third novel, and hopefully maybe either an expansion. We were thinking it was going to come along with the January content update, but maybe we'll see another big update in June or an expansion. Who knows?
I can't wait for that book to come out.
Yeah.
Okay, so lastly, COT news. There's not really much that has been going on, just because it's winter and like said, we're like fat from the holidays and we don't really want to do anything. But despite all that, our authors worked really hard over the winter holiday to make some really good one-shots about the winter holidays. So if you haven't read them, I highly suggest you go and read them because they're a really thrilling read. And also, just a bit of a community announcement about Chronicles of Eteria. We've got a new guild calendar, so if you want to be kept up to date with all the guild events such as SPVP Tuesday and World vs. World Wednesday, you can head on over to the forums.
Yeah, so that's it for all of us here at CoT Weekly for this week. See, it's not that difficult.
Hush you.
So I guess we'll jump into shoutouts for the week. Again, I know I personally haven't really been in game too much, hanging out with friends and family. A great time, New Year's, Christmas. But I do actually have two shoutouts that I want to go ahead and pick out, and they're not anything recent, so unfortunately. I don't know if anybody's familiar with her YouTube name is Laura6683. That's Lara 6683. She's a pianist and she plays lots of video game songs and popular pop culture songs from like sci-fi movies, fantasy movies. And she has a friend, I believe her friend's name is Taylor, and she plays the violin, and they do all sorts of medleys for all sorts of video game music. Well, I just found it came out back in September, but I just stumbled across it yesterday. They and their other friend, I believe it's Maluka is how you pronounce her name, they did Fear Not This Night, with one of them singing and then piano and violin, and I thought it was very well done. If you like Legend of Zelda, other things like that, you can check out their channel. We'll put a link to their channel in the description, but that was one that I thought was pretty neat. And the other is, I'm gonna butcher the name, and I'm sorry. I don't know if it's Joakim, I don't know, Joakim Erickson. Posted on our Facebook channel, again, right before the Christmas Eve, his guild song. And the guild is the Drunken Guardians, and I listened to probably like the first half of the song because I just saw it now and we had to come do the podcast. Pretty good listen. I'm not gonna say, but you guys can check it out. It's to the tune of a fairly well-known song. I didn't listen to all of it, so it sounds like there's they talked about alliances and Hall of Heroes. So sounds like it's a Guild Wars 1 song, but still cool. And I'll post the link, the MediaFire download link, in the description as well. So, how about you, Kaysee? Any
Yes.
any shoutouts for you?
Everyone's been so nice to me. As soon as I say I don't have any friends, everyone sends me things and tells me I'm wonderful, which is nice. So I'm not going to pull that trick anymore. But I do.
I was going to ask you actually, what kind of lure do you use fishing for compliments? Because I wasn't sure. Is there a special kind of knot and lure bait you use to fish for compliments? I don't know. I'm just asking.
It's a home brand. family secret. No, you know. Thank you, everyone. I didn't really expect anyone to send me things after that, but you guys did, and it was very nice. And I realized that people are probably taking me seriously. So, thank you for everyone. And this week I do have a shout out, but I don't think the person is listening today, which is going to make them very unhappy. But they can rewatch the video and see how special they are. Pirate Doom Lead last. He's the rich guy in our guild, Richie Rich, and he was telling us about choir bells and how much they were last week, and very surprisingly, he sent me a mail a little while later saying, here's an unbreakable bell, and he actually sent us an unbreakable bell for the guild. So I was very taken aback by that. That was a lot of money, no matter how rich you are. So thank you very much, Pirate Doom Lead. And so it's currently in the guild stash, and we don't know what we'd want to do with it. I know that Pirate wants us to make some music videos, but I don't know how talented we are at that. So
give it a go.
Yeah, give it a go. I'm sure you guys have seen the Michael Jackson Bell Choir song, and after you've seen that, I don't think there's anything we can do would be as good as that. So
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star doesn't really compare.
Yeah. So once again, thank you very much, Pirate Doom Lead. That is a massive gift for COT, and we very much appreciate it. Yeah.
Just wanted to shout out to we actually have some people talking in our chat there. For those of you listening at home, and Jalinar, our jumping puzzle expert, wanted us to mention that he is running Jumping Puzzle Fridays, and if you were to look at that guild calendar that Kaysee mentioned earlier, you'll actually see it's just a link to a Google Calendar, but we go in and we update it. The plan is, if we're going to cancel like a podcast or World Be World Night or something, we'll go in there and actually remove it, so that if you look at it and say, oh, okay, that's missing, now I know they're not planning on doing it 6 months from now. They're not going to do this particular Thursday or what have you. And I just wanted to also to shout out to Zenchu, one of our members, who apparently has been sick. I haven't seen him on, but I haven't been on. But because he mentioned that he has been sick, I decided that he deserves a shout out. And you know what? Well, Navari's there. Thank you for coming out of Navari, and Kiata for being the first person here. This episode is brought to you by Kiata. He jumped from game to come watch because I talked to him in game like seconds before we started this. So, good job, Chronicles of Tyria. Thanks for representing. On to the topic of today, which is the Fractals of the Mist. Let's take it down. Let me turn down the lights a little bit here, make it a little more serious. So, the thing of it is, here we'll make this real. Kaysee and I have been talking about how we usually have this 2-3 hour podcast. We're missing Naveen. We're still figuring out technical difficulties. We can't really bring on extra guests at this point in time, even though we do have some people we would like to question and interview and just have for the sake of having a good time. It's a lot of work doing this, especially now that it's just the two of us doing all this work, coming up with the content, and especially because at this point in time, most of the lore that people would want to know outside of holiday things is kind of already out there, or people just don't care. I know there's a bunch of us that do care, and we're going to keep putting out lore for those type of people. But we decided we're going to probably shorten the shows up a little bit. The news is going to write itself. But for the topics, we're probably, rather than trying to do something like covering all 5 racial cities in one episode, which was the original plan, which would make it a 3-hour show, rather than do that, we'll get 5 episodes, a city a show, but we can go more in depth. And if it's the two of us doing one city, then we can get in game and run around and talk to NPCs and listen to what's going on and give you more in-depth lore content on a specific thing rather than a little bit for a bunch of different things. And that's kind of how it's going to go, at least until we get Naveen back, or I get rich and win the lottery and I don't have to go to work anymore, and then I can just sit around and research podcasts all day. Or if Kaysee does, and then she sends me money. Either one. But so anyway, today's topic: Fractals of the Mist. Everybody, give a hand to Kaysee, who did. She's gonna kind of be leading this because work today was rough and I couldn't do the research that I wanted. So she kind of is gonna be shouldering most of this burden. So, yeah. So thank you to her, and I'm gonna throw it your way and turn the lights back up. Get a little more cheery. Take off the jacket. There you go.
It's all casual now.
And Ella Cardellina showed up because, she is awesome and one of the people that I would like to have come on, and we just haven't gotten around to figuring that out. But thank you for joining Chronicles of Tyria. Well, you were already there in the beginning. I meant our server, because that's awesome, and we enjoy having you here.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about SPVP Tuesdays as well. Everyone wants to beat me up. I think I've stepped on a few toes, but yeah, definitely join us on Tuesday if you'd like a chance to beat me up. I guarantee it's going to be easy, but it's a confidence boost, right?
I'll help you out, Kaysee. I'll join your team if possible. I mean, I know you don't really join teams, but
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll continue to the topic. So basically, Fractals of the Mist. Most of us know what Fractals of the Mist are. It's in case you've been living under a rock or you're just like a general summary. Fractals of the Mist is basically this area that we can go to that essentially serves the purpose of a dungeon. And each dungeon run, you do 3 fractals, which are these instanced like mini dungeon kind of runs, and we return back to a lab. And now there's a lot of lore behind this which I really like, but basically the Fractals of the Mist is it's hard to explain, such a big topic. Inside the mists, basically in Guild Wars there's this area which kind of like, I think, the spiritual realm called the Mists, and all of time exists in the mist, and it's kind of a place of magic and kind of mystery as well. We also know that dead souls also go to the mists, and people aren't really meant to be able to go there, but from Guild Wars we know that they do, and from a lore perspective it kind of enables a lot of things. For example, PvP takes place in Fractals of the Mist. For example, the Battle of Kylo was an old historical battle that's very much in the past of Guild Wars 2, but thanks to the lore of the Fractals of the Mist, we can go back and do PvP there, and it kind of explains away a lot of plot holes in my mind. So Fractals of the Mist is this place that we can see past and future and all these wonderful things, and the Fractals of the Mist is like little bits of the future and the past and we play through a dungeon of each one. And so why are we doing that? Well, there's a Azura called Dessa, and she runs this Azuran lab because the Azurans, they love to learn new things, and they've always got labs and they've always got crews, so they've decided to study the mist, and her particularly wants to study fractals of time. She wants to study the past and the future, so she set up this base in the mists, and you are kind of the volunteer or the explorer going out to explore these areas because she can't do it herself. She's not a fighter. And so there's a lot of weird lore behind it, but I love how Guild Wars, the ArenaNet, has tried to explain it. So basically basically it started with the Lost Shore event. It's so much to explain. It's hard to get my head around all of it. You start with the Lost Shore event. So basically the consortium is this new kind of trading merchant company, and they tried to open up a portal to the Lost Shores, except something went wrong and the portal went to somewhere else, and we know that it goes to Dessa's lab somewhere in the mists, and so that's the explanation of how this new dungeon comes around. We go in there, we explore for her, we get cool loot, but there's also some very weird plot holes about this as well. For example, when you tell her, why did you connect to Lion's Arch? Because the consortium have no idea about her, and if you talk to someone in front of the gate, he has no idea where it comes from. He just knows adventurers go in there bright and bushy-tailed and come out very badly beaten and sore. The consortium has no idea. They're trying to fix it. They're trying to get it to go to the Lost Shores instead, and she also has no idea. When you ask her, why did you connect to Lion's Arch, she goes, Lion's Arch? We would never base an operation from there. We would never deal with those pirates. So there's kind of like, she doesn't really know what's going on. And also, according to Wooden Potatoes, when she sees a Sylvari, she doesn't quite know what a Sylvari is. So she's a bit confused by it all. But then about this, people wondering, did she come from the past? Did she come from the future? It's really hard to say because there's a little bit of a hole about what happens in Lion's Arch, for example. It's at the moment, and from the books we know that it's currently a pirate-free state, yet in the guide it's told, what's it called? This book. Strategy guide. Thank you. In this book, it says that the people of Kryta took back their city, which I'm more intending to believe that it's still a pirate-free state, because we still see, is it Magnus Bloody Hand, the pirate leader and stuff like that, and the pirate council. So there's a lot of confusion as to if she's the past or the future, but because she doesn't knows what Sylvari are, it's generally accepted that she's come from the past. She also has, when you talk to her about, you have something to say.
Or she's so far in the future that the Sylvari are dead and gone.
Yes. I think that she is from the future because of a number of reasons, and I'll talk to you about the uncategorized cat golem fractal. We'll talk about it then. But she also knows about the consortium, so if she doesn't know about the Sylvari, how does she know about the consortium? Because the consortium didn't exist before the until after the Sylvari. So
right, but we know that the not to sidetrack it too much. We know that the consortium are a rival to the Black Lion Trading Company. And that's their whole purpose, is to try to, take the profit away.
Yeah.
Well, for all we know, maybe in the future they win. And the Black Lion Trading Company doesn't exist.
Yep.
And there's no more Sylvari.
Yep.
And that's how she knows. I mean, this is all purely speculation and nothing to back that up.
Yeah. But I mean,
playing devil's advocate.
You have to. There's a lot of speculation with the Fractals of the Mist. And also an interesting note is that she doesn't like the consortium because she lost her boyfriend to them. Apparently they were money grubbing, and somehow her boyfriend died because of it, which is very sad. But that's just a general overview of what the Fractals of the Mist are. It's a basically a dungeon. The lore of it is that you are teleported through a gate that mysteriously connects to the mists, where a Azura called Dessa currently has a lab, and you basically volunteer to go through fractals of time, which are in the mists, to complete these dungeons for her, so she can explore the past and the future. For we know, definitely a few of them seem like they're in the future, and you can explore some very interesting things, and there's a lot of possibilities that they've introduced by introducing this mechanic. So I think that's a pretty good introduction. Did I miss anything, Lag? Double thumbs up.
The only thing, the only thing that I can think of possibly is, I thought I remember hearing or talking that the guy isn't he outside in Lion's Arch who was like her boyfriend or something? I thought. Oh,
I think on Wooden Potatoes
Citizens
videos,
guy, I think.
Yeah, it was very confusing about that sort of thing. That the boyfriend was outside in Lion's Arch, but then they thought that it may not have been. It was just the name was similar. I'm not quite sure.
Ah, okay. Well, and that would, I mean, if that is the case, that also points to her being more from the future.
I definitely would think that it's the future. It would have to be, because why isn't there any... The Azura would know about time being able to be in the mists. But
Which also reminds me, I think next week's episode is going to be about the mists.
there's so much about the mist, isn't there?
Yeah, so there you go.
Yep, there we go, mist.
Review.
Yeah. Yeah, so shall we start with Mistlock Observatory, which we've already really established. So
yeah, there's not much there other than you said Des is there. There's her stormtroopers, as I call them.
Yeah.
Which is her crew. And then you've got a couple of golems that are mostly just to serve your merchant needs. Although there isn't a repair one, I don't believe, which is sad.
No, there is a repair one, yep.
There is, okay, there was. That's right. So, I mean, and if you jump off the edge, you get teleported back up and die. So, but other than that, there's not much there. There's the portal in the middle, which takes you to whatever random fractal you're going to go to. And then there's like the kind of little, when you go up the stairs, there's like a couple of weird kind of consoles that you can't access anyway. So, Mistlock Observatory.
Yeah, but I think Des is the most interesting thing in there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the stormtroopers don't talk. So.
They make grunting noises when they get up, though.
Wow, well. At least we know they're not robots.
Random fact no one ever wanted to know ever.
Oh, you.
Oh, I'm full of them. So shall we go to the aquatic ruins?
Yes, aka YOLO Let's Bolo ruins.
If you haven't seen our video, you should watch it.
Yeah. Or not.
If you want to hear some really nice music and us making asses of ourselves, watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, and lots of pretty music that Kaysee picked when we sped up the time.
Yay!
Right, so
basically, you start off in this area with the fishermen, and the fishermen are like, help us, and that's basically all that is interesting, except for a barrel of lobsters, which is awesome.
Well, don't forget about when... Oh, you mean right at the beginning.
You're right at the beginning, yeah.
And you have to save them from crate? Yeah, it's all from crate. So...
Yeah, and there's I think the most interesting thing about that is the statues. Which are like men in their tidy-whities.
Which look remarkably like the Colossus that we'll mention later.
Yeah, so basically the start of it is you go and rescue a fisherman from the crate who like to eat people. And once you kill them all, it says you need to explore deeper into the ruins, and from there it splits, like a lot of them do. It splits into either you become dolphins and you have to escape through the crate using your dolphin magic, or you have to go through a very dark area with carnivorous fish, and the only way to protect yourself is by staying near light areas, because carnivorous fish don't like light, apparently. So that's basically the mechanics. Stop giggling!
I just want to point out, I don't know if anybody else ever played Echo the Dolphin on the Sega Genesis, but that's all I could think of in going through as a dolphin. I'm like, I'm Echo the Dolphin, and I should use my echolocation to talk to some killer whales and stuff like that.
I don't know if this is like an Australian thing, but I just think of Flipper. You know, like that sort of thing.
Well, I mean, there's that, but Echo the Dolphin was a game that you played as a dolphin, so it made me... I mean, Flipper makes sense, but Flipper was a dolphin. You didn't get to play as Flipper. Unless there was a Flipper video game, in which you did.
Wouldn't put it past.
But I digress.
Yeah, so it's pretty... It's actually, I think, the fastest one that you go through until you get to the jellyfish. So basically you get through these areas, and then basically you end up in the same place, which is this giant jellyfish, and you have to kill it, which I feel sorry for the jellyfish, because it didn't do anything to us. And so but it is the most tedious fight of all the fractals. This jellyfish will not die.
Well, you're only saying it's very tedious because we did it, just the two of us.
But it's got too much health even if you got 5 people. So, but
just let me point this out. According to somebody on our video that watched our video, they said if you pull him closer to the cages that get lit up with electricity, it does more damage to him.
Oh, I thought they would just debate us.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But anyway, there you go.
So,
That's a little helpful.
Yeah. So that's probably like the fastest one. Not a lot of lore there. Creepy Colossus kind of statues with coffins in their chests.
Aliens.
Aliens, yeah.
But you know, not the good kind that are on Ancient Aliens. The kind that come out of your chest. That's what I think of anyway.
So not much lore there.
Are actually chest bursters. Anyway, right.
So next one we'll do is probably everyone's favorite, the Colossus, Cliffside.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I think Alina says that the crate one is her favorite, or the Colossus one.
Really? Oh, I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
I love the Cliffside one. Oh, okay, the Colossus. Yeah. So Colossus, Cliffside, interchangeable, same one.
Yeah.
Start off, you fight a cultist dude, and he drops this awesome skinned hammer that they need to make as a skin in the game that we can get because it's so cool. But if you're like me, the very first time you play it, people don't realize that when you pick up the hammer, bad things happen, and like it slowly ticks your health down.
It's corrupted.
And yes, a corrupted hammer, and your whole point of this mission is to break this Colossus out. He's got seals on his, I think, both knees, both arms, and his chest, and then there's one like up at the top, and not on his head, but it's up towards where his head is, and you need to break all of these seals using the corrupted hammer to free him, and you don't know why you're freeing him other than Dessa says we should free him.
She goes,
and the cultists seem like bad guys.
Yeah, she goes, oh, the cultists are trying to kill you? Maybe the Colossus isn't as bad as we thought. You should free him. I'm like, oh, that's well thought out. Thank you, Dessa. But that's basically what the lore behind trying to free the Colossus is. And yeah, so basically you fight cultists the entire time. You have no idea why they're trying to chain him up. I would say that was either in the past, very far past, or very far future. But yeah, so basically you fight your way up to the top, and you kill all these cultists, and the hammer plays a really important part in breaking the seals. And if you're Lagwyn, part of the boss fight is you get put into cages all the time.
Every time I've done the Cliffside Fractal, which is probably at least 5 times, I am the only one that gets sent into the cages. Like, and the only time that I wasn't, Kaysee was sent into a cage that I was already in that I broke open for her. Some bullshit. And Kiara in the chat says, were there a race of giants in the past? There was the Giganticus lupicus, but they look like Anubis things. If you play the Ara dungeon, it's one of the main bosses that you have to beat regardless of the path you take. Also the hardest boss, I think.
Yeah.
Some people say it's easy, I don't know. But Giganticus lupicus looked like a wolf. So, yes, and Jalinar mentioned the same thing in the chat, and so did Alacarolina. So, different than those. So, again, that's either far, far past. Maybe they seem larger, significantly larger than Giganticus lupicus. So maybe like way, way in the past, and slowly as time goes by, races of Tyria got smaller. So like Colossus, Giganticus lupicus. Well, I mean, the humans came from elsewhere anyway, so... Yeah,
so it must have been in a time period where humans were in Tyria that they existed, or can the myths show time from different planets, basically? So could it be from the first planet where the humans were, or something like that?
I believe, from what I can tell, that the mists transcend time and space.
Mm.
So you could be the whole Tyria of Guild Wars multiverse that encompasses all the sun and the moon and all that stuff is all connected by the mists.
Mm.
So yeah, this could be an entirely different like planet that we're seeing that has humans on it. It could have been the old thing, maybe. I mean, he seems like a cool dude, the Colossus. He seems like a nice guy. He bows to us, and we bow back. Kind of reminds me of Dr. Manhattan from The Watchmen. With less blue penis. Sorry.
Just putting that out there.
Just throwing it out there. Let me regain my composure. So yeah, it could be an entirely different planet. It could be really far past Tyria, because they look like they're made out of rock. So I mean, maybe it was the cultists created them in the first place, or the Asura or something, and it was like some kind of construct that they made. It could be the far future. Maybe because they're a stone race, they're one of the only things that's surviving in the future, and that's why the humans are pissed, and they chained him up because they want to learn from what keeps him alive and the magic to protect the human race in the future. We don't have any idea.
But that's a lot of the
definitely
myths.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The myth is all speculation. Only a few of it is actually hardcore lore. Only a few fractals actually make sense. But we'll come to them later. Shall we continue to Snowblind? Also featured in our YOLO Les Bolo.
Yes, just the very, very end. Yeah, which was not doable with 2 people. So, sadly. Yeah, so it uses the frostbite mechanic, which was the first thing to use it, but for those of you who did the Wintersday jumping puzzle millions of times, if your name is Jalinar, that was a mechanic that they also adopted there, where you continually, like, your max health decreases and you just continually lose health over time until you get to something warm, like a fire. And a lot of the time it's you using a torch to make a fire, and then you kind of build up like a heat pool, essentially. And then when that ticks down, then the frostbite starts activating. And you're fighting as the Sons of Svanir, right? So it's presumably like current time. Because there still are Sons of Svanir. We know there weren't Sons of Svanir before Svanir.
Which was Guild Wars 1, wasn't it?
Yes. So Svanir was towards the end of the Eye of the North, that time period. So about 250 years ago. So it's sometime in there, and presumably if it was the future and we beat Svanir, I doubt there would still be Sons of Svanir.
Yeah.
So sometime between the end of Guild Wars 1 and whenever we inevitably defeat Jormag in the future.
Yep.
Okay.
There's really all there is to say about that one. There's no interesting lore about that one, other than the only thing I really like about that is they do this kind of mist mechanic, or a dark mechanic really well. Like, one point you enter a forest and it's so dark, and you can, like, unless you've got a torch, you cannot see, like, I don't know, 3 feet in front of you. And I really like that sort of atmosphere. It's really fun for role playing. I wish they would put it in different areas as well. But other than that, it's just killing Svanir, and the end boss is killing the boss Svanir. So that's about it. So yeah, that's probably one of the most boring, but it's still cool dungeon. So we'll go on to next. Sorry, I keep on hitting my mic. We'll go on to the next one, which is Solid Ocean, which is perhaps the coolest. Which is basically the Jade fighting the Jade Maw.
Yes.
So the lore basically of this is that it's the Jade Sea from Guild Wars 1, which is in Cantha. If you played Factions, you'll know the Jade Sea. You probably played on the Jade Sea, probably killed bunches of people on the Jade Sea. It's basically, I don't know if we want to get to the lore of the Jade Sea, but basically there was this big fight. This guy kind of, I don't know, yelled or died or let out a scream, and it basically wreaked havoc to all nature. And one of the things that it did was it turned this massive ocean into jade. and you can actually see that it's become a quarry, like they did in Guild. Actually, when in Cantha they turned the Jade Sea into a quarry and mined jade, and you can actually see that things have been mined in this fractal, but you can also see things in the jade, because they've cut out things that are in jade and set it aside. And I think in one area you can actually see a whale in the jade, which is really cool. It's mostly sea animals. There's really no anything more interesting other than a whale in the jade. It's just basically, I find it very much a nostalgia thing. Like walking through there, you're just full of nostalgia. Going through the Jade Sea, and it's a bit weird though, because it's suspended in time. It's not like it's kind of, there's blocks and you have to jump over the blocks and stuff like that. It's very odd. But yeah, then I don't really think there's anything other than that, is there? That basically.
There's Jade Armor, little mini Jade Armor, which are also an enemy a lot of us are familiar with from Guild Wars 1. And then there's, I think, Breeze Riders or something like that, or the other enemy, which are in Guild Wars 2 or also in Guild Wars 1.
Irukanji?
Yeah, but Breeze Riders. You know, tentacle, floaty things. Yeah, exactly, Kaysee, that was spot on. I mean, other than that, it's a pretty straightforward. It's get from point A to point B, fight the Jade Maw, which has a really cool mechanic, which I do like. Yeah. Yes, Jalinar. Thank you for reminding me of this. He says, I remember me and Kaysee when we first got into that Fractals. We were looking at those jade cubes and which creatures were in them, while everyone else in our party was dying. I was one of the rest of the party that was dying, while you guys sat and looked at creatures in jade cubes.
The memories.
Yes. So, anyway, yeah, I like the mechanic. It shoots like a beam of energy, and you grab these crystals, and then it'll stop you from getting killed, and you throw the crystal at the enemy, and it hurts them. I like clever mechanics like that switch up the gameplay. I know it'll bother a lot of people; they won't like it, but I like it. It definitely makes it interesting, and more kind of innovative combat like that, I think, will help to keep Guild Wars fresh if they do that with new content. Maybe if they throw in new fractals, or maybe like one boss in like a world boss in a new zone or something.
Yeah, yep. Definitely enjoyed the new mechanics of that, and it's worthy of, because it is the end boss fight. After 3 fractals, after every even fractal, you get a boss fight, and which is this Jade Maw, and there's a chance of getting an ascended item. It's just very, very epic. I mean, Jade Maw tentacle thing is massive. It's very cool. So I think that's all that really needs to be said about the Jade Maw, right?
I think so.
Swampland is next. I'm sure all of you who've played know Swampland and you hate it as much as I do. The Moss Man, I freaking want to strangle his neck. But basically it's the first bit of it is you enter this swamp. There's really no indication whether it's past or present. It's just a swamp, and you go into the swamp and you have to return these wisps to the tree trunk, which is called clefts, I think, because they escape and you need to go forward, and they've closed. So basically, to continue, you need to collect these wisps from these areas in the map, and they can be very far in the map. So basically, you have to grab them, and then you have 30 seconds to run back and put them down. Except there are tons of traps and things to slow you down, and monsters, invulnerable monsters. So especially the Moss Man. And so it's very difficult, and a lot of people have a lot of frustration doing it. But yeah, as Jalana says, if you have a Mesmer and a Guardian and you know what you're doing, it's very easy. But if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have a Mesmer and a Guardian, this can be very frustrating. Especially if there's one person in the group that just cannot do it. So that's probably the most frustrating one. I think everyone groans when they get that one. But
Yep.
After you finish the that first bit, you basically go into a boss fight, and it's very easy after that. I think it splits into 2 boss fights. One is the Moss Man, and who is a Norn, and a I can't remember what the boss is called, but basically it's a giant oak heart, and the oak heart tries to kill you.
Yeah.
But no lore in that one, absolutely. Same as the...
You're in a swamp. We don't know the swamp. Mossman's just a Norn dude who likes the swamp. A little bit different than the Shiver Peaks, if you ask me. I'd actually like to get some lore behind the Mossman. Because I think he's a cool dude. I never had a problem with him.
Why does he live alone, and why does he attack people who go into his swamp?
You're trespassing on his swamp. That's his swamp. Why is Dessa sending a group of people into my swamp?
You're my turf.
Y'all best be staying out of my swamp, or I'll be hitting you with my traps and killing you with my pet wolves.
Oh, hick no.
Just throwing a little banjo music in there.
So, get off my lawn. There's no lawn in the swamp. So, other than being the hick Mossman, there's really nothing more interesting in that one.
Also, no alligators in the swamp. A little pissed about that. I think that would have been a good time. I think that would have been a good time to introduce alligators to the swamp, because we had alligators and crocodiles in Guild Wars 1. Why not introduce them? Even not as a ranger catchable thing, just like as a creature. They have drakes. Just change the model and make me happy. The Mossman, Jalinar says, the Mossman is mad because the Consortium are evil and want to wipe his swamp to build something. Lore inventing in the process.
I like Kiada's comment. He wouldn't want you there if there was banjo music. Next time we do this, next time we do the song, I'm gonna have it and see if it works. All right. So next one.
Dirty mouth, Char. Sorry.
The underground facility, which is the Dredge Fractal. Everyone hates Dredge. Whoever loves the Dredge obviously keeps a naked mole rat as a pet. But basically this one is you're found underground in the Dredge tunnels. Dredge want to kill you because when do they not want to kill everyone? And you're basically trying to escape, and you basically do the same path. It involves traps and switches and moles who are invulnerable to blindness, and basically you just fight your way through. But this one is interesting because it has multiple switches, so you can go one way, one fractal, another way, another fractal, but normally the other fractals only have one splitting path, whereas this one has 2 splitting paths. And as Anlu Cardalina says, Dredge Suit is my bane. I hate the Dredge Suit. So many times I've gotten him down to I don't know, a third health, and then all of a sudden he wipes out everyone, and then it just goes full health again.
Really, I feel like ArenaNet should only put the underground facility as the first fractal, because if it has the Dredge Suit, I'm just gonna quit.
Yeah. Or the people that are gonna completely rage quit, and so that from the start, from the first fractal, that they're gonna rage quit, not on the third fractal that they're gonna rage quit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Ice Elemental is way easier. And the mechanics are a little bit frustrating. It's awesome. I love boss fight mechanics, but they're a little bit frustrating, forcing us to run around, especially when he latches onto one person all the time.
Me.
Yeah,
all the time.
It's good for us because you're a freaking guardian, you can stay alive, but it's not good if it's a elementalist or something.
Yeah.
Didn't really hear any lore anywhere in there. Past, present, who cares? They're Dredge.
Yeah, I don't really care.
So with that, I think we'll move on to something a little bit more interesting, like the urban battlegrounds with this Char and Ascalon. That is so interesting.
And Siege Master Dolphy. She is great. If you guys haven't gone to Dolphy.net, check it out. It's run by this amazing woman who does like research for all sorts of MMOs, Guild Wars being one of them. I mean, within like a day of any kind of new content coming out, like a Halloween event or Christmas or Wintersday event, Lost Shores, whatever, she has like the majority of the information is up there and listed. And because she was going in and doing all these research and farming, get all these things to make all these items, to let us know the players how to do it by spending her own time. She was doing all this. ArenaNet banned her account because they thought it was a bot, because only a bot would be able to do that much that fast. And like they were like, "Oh my God, we're so sorry." So they gave her account back, and to make up for it, they made a character called Siege Master Dolphy, named after her, in the Urban Battlegrounds, which is actually like the first kind of boss you fight there. So check it out and support her. Send her an email. Let her know that you think she's awesome, because she is. And if we had more people like that in the community, well, it would just be a better community. So.
Like what's it called? A fan crush or something like that?
No, I mean, it's professional respect and courtesy. What that is. I wish we had that kind of following on this podcast.
Yeah, so just to quickly explain, if you don't know what this fractal is, it's basically the Char invading Ascalon, and what I love is that you play as the Char, and you invade Ascalon, and you have to basically wipe out all the Ascalonians. It's very not emotion evoking, that's maybe perhaps a little bit too strong, but it makes you feel like a lot of nostalgia, and then it makes you see the other side, and killing, people, or the Ascalonians, is a very hard thing to do, I think. One of the things I really liked that, the special bonus for that was, like, if you want to get the achievement, it was, what's it called? No Cluck Left Behind, or...
something like that.
Yeah, and basically you just have to go around Ascalon killing all the chickens, which is a lot better than having to kill all the Ascalonians.
Yeah.
So you basically weave your way through the city. It splits paths through the city, which is just basically stupid because it's just like a different maze way of going through. Kill Ascalonians. You get to a courtyard area, and you kill, you basically defend your Flame Legion boss person, and he starts summoning something, and then a captain comes out, and you kill the captain. It comes out of the church, and you kill the captain. And then basically the most interesting part of it is Dessa goes, there's a large energy wave coming your way. Stand still, something like that. I'm going to quickly port you through out, or whatever. Out of Cluck. And Jalina just told me the achievement is called Out of Cluck. It's a lot better. And basically she says, "Oh, stand still, there's this large wave coming towards you." And the first impression I got was that was the searing. Or what's it called? The searing, or the breaking of the faux fire. That's it. Sorry. The faux fire coming towards you. So that was very interesting. Made me feel like I was in the moment.
Yes, and actually I was thinking about it more right now, and and we've got Alec Cardellina in the chat, and Jalinar, so this is probably the best two people to talk about Guild Wars 1, Ascalon, human versus Char stuff. But I don't think it's the faux fire, because the attack is led by the Flame Legion, I believe, because there's the shamans, and at the end of Guild Wars 1, in Eye of the North, the whole point of Eye of the North is fighting with Pyre Fearshot, is you break down the Flame Legion. So there was no way they would be leading an assault on any kind of part of Ascalon, at least as long as it... But I think in the beginning there's other Char there, like Blood Legion, Iron Legion, when you're out like in the main battlefield before you go into the main area. So there's no way they would be leading that assault if it was after the events of Guild Wars 1, like post Eye of the North. So the searing might be a better option, a more likely option, because they were all working together at that point.
Yeah.
And the Flame Legion were integral in the searing happening by believing in the Titans as new gods and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to think that's more likely. But
is the city? Does it ever mention what the name of the city that they're invading is?
I don't think so. It's somewhere in Ascalon. It could be, I don't think it's Ascalon City. Clearly, 'cause it doesn't look anything like Ascalon City. But it could be, any other one of the nearby cities. I'd actually have to go in and look more at the scenery, but I'm sure, Alicarlina would know. And I'm sure we'd have a Project Tyria. She can't tell which one it is. Nobody's going to be able to tell.
Yeah, it might be just
there you go. Alicarlina will, if there is something, we'll have pictures because she's on top of her shit. But the work that she does is awesome. If you haven't checked that out, projecttyria.blogspot.com or blogspot.projecttyria.com. Whatever, I'll put the link in the description anyway.
Yeah. She says she thinks it's Dracea since this was the first one to be attacked, and Ascalon had plenty of siege then. That's true. I wonder if Dracea kind of got the searing like Ascalon did. Because I wonder why they mentioned that big burst of energy coming towards.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been, like she's saying, had a lot of people, had a lot of siege. It could have been the first area that was attacked prior to getting to Ascalon City, and they just said it was coming our way, but it could have been from, further north, and it was just working its way that way. So, like I said, when it comes to any kind of old Ascalon anything, I trust her implicitly with that. So, we will definitely put a link in the description. And if you haven't visited her website, check it out. It's one of the coolest things that I've seen anybody in the community do. So, plus, I mean, the amount of time that she has to spend. I mean, she's funding and running and guiding this tour bus all by herself. So, all the support she can get, I'm sure, is greatly appreciated. So,
double thumbs up again. Whew.
Yeah, I'm throwing out. See, if I do it too much, then it loses its value. All right, so let's jump to the last.
There's two more.
Oh, there's two more. There is another one. That's right.
The next one is the volcanic Grawl. Well, the Grawl isn't volcanic. It's volcanic. In brackets, Grawl. So basically this is the one where you enter and basically you see Grawl sacrificing villagers, and basically you have to go through the whole thing and save these people, then kill this Grawl shaman that's gone. Woohoo.
What was the siege rat? What was the Grawl doing?
Nothing.
I didn't quite catch that.
He was going a little crazy in the naysay. I'm
sorry, bad? I missed that part too.
Anyway, so basically, that's the fractal. No word about if it's past or present. All we know is it's kind of got this Indiana Jones kind of feel to it. And basically you have to go save everyone, and it's got some really cool mechanics. There's a lot of different mechanics about let's say you have to run through the fireballs that are running down the volcano, and then you have to throw rocks or seared stones to break things and all sorts of stuff. It's pretty cool. Not a lot of lore.
It's pretty dark when you think about it. When you first get to that first boss, there are 5 helpless female villagers that if you don't stop the Grawl, get pushed off into a volcano. Like, I don't think people realize that that's what happens. And then when you're fighting the final boss, the way he regenerates health is he consumes one of the 4 male villagers that's there, just eats them, and gains full health. I think that gets lost on people. Like, people are just dying, and if you don't do a good job, it's your fault that they're dead. So don't screw it up, Tyria. Save the innocent citizens.
There's 5 that get sacrificed at the start that you have no control over.
I know.
Well.
I mean, it's like I said, it's a dark fractal. If you look at it more, through realistic glasses, not video gamer glasses.
Well, if you save them, they do a nice dance, so that's quite nice.
Yes. Dance for me.
So I just tell you the same noises that they make.
I know. It's the best. They need to take the sound out when you're dancing.
They definitely do. They dance if they survive, yes. But other than that, I don't think there's really anything interesting about that one. It's fun. No lore, and this is a lore show, so...
My only thing I want to know is, where's the volcano? We know of one in Mount Maelstrom. We know of another in the Ring of Fire. And that's all we know of volcanoes currently. Yes, Bloodstones all over again. I agree with Alucardalina completely. That could be the case, sacrificing villagers to the Bloodstones like the White Mantle did in Guild Wars 1. This is why we keep her and Jalinar around.
Not because you have wonderful personalities.
I mean, I just did a whole rant about how great Alucardalina and all the work she does is. So I can, itemize her out here and say that this is what I'm here. But yes, Jal and Alucardalina, 2 great resources. So, double thumbs up for them.
I think...
right.
I think we should just leave that one and go to probably my favourite. Absolute favourite. Uncategorized is the cat golem. Yeah, sorry, I was just reading the comments. Cat golem is my favourite. Basically, you turn up in this place, and Des is like, I gotta go now, bye. And she sounds really like cut up about something. And basically, you're in this kind of old floating ruins in the sky, which looks a lot like Radisum, a little bit like apocalyptic, like something's gone wrong. And she buggers off very quickly. So it makes me wonder if she knows what happened and she just doesn't want to see it because it brings up emotions. Because she doesn't want to know... She doesn't want to stay and figure out what's going on here. She just wants to bugger off so that she doesn't have to feel those emotions. So I think that's another thing that makes me think that Deso is from the future, because for some reason it looks like Radisum gets abandoned, and yeah, so basically that's, it looks like Radisum. Whether it is or it is not is a different thing. And basically you make your way up this, up Radisum, and you fight these creatures, and I think the first boss that you encounter is this really creepy, like a lot of people, it's kind of cute, but it's like just as much creepy as this cat golem. And it's like one of these servant golems with like cat ears and whiskers, and it goes meow, meow, and like stuff like that. I find it very unnerving, to say the least. So that's kind of the first boss you face. Then you kill a lot of harpies, and then you walk into a room with containment units. And the Azura, they freaking kept people in containment units to dissect them and kill them. All of them were prisoners. It could be nice. But basically you fight the this bandit, a Etten, a shaman warrior, a rabbit, and a... Is it just 4? Yeah, it's just 4.
There's a Char, I think, right?
Yeah, the shaman. Char shaman. I think there's 4 in total.
Yeah, there's another one. It's a human, I think.
Oh, the bandit.
Bandit.
Yeah, bandit.
That's Bandit, Etten, Char,
Bunny.
and the rabbit.
So you kill them, and you continue going. And I think the most interesting part of this fractal is the boss fight at the end, because there's a crazy Azura, and the things that he says are very interesting. He goes, I think so, he's like, burning, screaming, dying, you can't be here because they all abandoned.
Yeah, Jal posted it in the chat if you look up. Breach, broken, falling, screaming, dying.
Yeah. Yeah, and he also the containment. I got the containment unit and the cat golem confused. The containment unit comes first, then the cat golem. But yeah. So in my mind, I'm almost 100% sure it's Ratasum. And at the end, when you defeat all the cat golems, which have really funny names, which I'm sure someone's gonna put in the chat very soon, like something von Scrufflebutt, and really funny cat names because he's an Azura. But when you defeat him at the end, he doesn't die. He just goes flying off. Like, it's very weird because if you look, he doesn't die because when you look on your map, it says that he's often somewhere in the foggy distance with his boss icon. So
Yeah.
and he still talks at the end. When you quit out of the fractal, you can hear him talking. So yeah, Ala Catalina agrees with me. She's pretty sure it's Ratasum as well. So that's definitely in the future, and it's an odd thing to put in. And I wonder if they plan to expand on that.
That wouldn't be bad.
You know, did they put it there in the mindset that it's going to happen eventually? And you know, in Guild Wars 2 style, you know, they're preparing us for that sort of thing. But I doubt it. I doubt they'll work on a major city as much as that, and then have it abandoned.
Yeah, maybe, you know how you mentioned Dessa just says I have to go, and she's pretty much doesn't talk to you the whole thing? Maybe that crazy Asura was the one who was actually her boyfriend. I don't remember what his name was.
No, but she
I'm
said
just
he got
throwing it out there.
killed, yeah.
Well, maybe he didn't get killed. Maybe she just said that because it's easier than saying he went criminally insane.
He did go criminally insane, that's for sure. But it's kind of scary to see that, you know, such a Ratasum change so much.
Yeah, Ala Cartolina brings up a really good point.
I love that
I mean,
comment.
what other giant cube is going to be floating around? Touché. Yes, it's most likely Ratasum, based on the giant floating cube. I also, a lot of people, I know Jalinar, probably, and myself, I know I really enjoy it because the mechanic in this is the jumping puzzle.
Yeah.
Like, that's the big mechanic. But I don't particularly like the harpies throughout. I mean, it makes the jumping puzzle difficult, but it makes it annoying because you can, you know, you get hit and you're in combat. You can get hit mid-air and go into combat. I also don't like it because I've completed that fractal probably like 8 times and never fallen, but I've yet to get the achievement for not falling on that jumping puzzle.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's that area at the top where you have to shut off as like the laser beams come down, and if you get hit, you die, and you have to like go up and hit the 3 things at the top. Jal says, "Have I tried it after level 10?" No, I haven't, Jal. I would like to.
I think he is talking about how agony makes it really painful.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to get to level 10 first. I haven't played enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the laser beam thing because when you get to the top, if you have some sort of way to remove, like, immobilize, you can activate like 2 to 3 of them if you have multiple ways of doing it. Oh, and the harpies have knockback after level 10.
Man.
Wonderful.
Major,
Yeah.
I take you.
Yeah.
I just remembered something we were talking about, like the harpies, and why would anyone want a potion that gives them harpies?
You love that line.
I
That's like
love it.
an little raisin.
I love it. Why would anyone want a potion that gives them harpies? Seriously. I love how like he gets taken off by the harpy. The harpy's got little love hearts. Anyway, people don't know what we're talking about. It's probably going to get cut from the final version. So
Just for the interest of editing, leave it in. It's an event that happens in one of the char areas, I think.
yeah.
And that's all you need to know. For interest, just don't ask questions about it, so therefore Kaysee doesn't have to pull it out in final editing.
I like how Elena says she loves it too. Yay! I'm not the only weird one. Okay, so that's pretty much all the fractals. We just basically summed up the fractals, highlighted or emphasized what lore there was behind them. Wasn't a lot of lore. A lot of this is guesswork. They haven't really explained much about the lore of the fractals, so only so much we can do. But yeah, so I think Ted's going to explain the future changes to fractals that was recently published by Isaiah Cartwright.
Yeah, so basically two big changes. We'll post a link in the description for the full thing if you want to read it. One of the main things that I know everybody's excited for is the addition of the ability to reconnect to a fractal when you drop. Because everybody's been there where somebody gets disconnected, somebody rage quits, whatever, and now your 5 fractal group is halfway through and there's only 2 of you left. And then you YOLO Let's Bolo it, and then you're stuck because you can't do the next one, which is what happened to Kaysee and I. Now there will be a way to reconnect in. No, not sure if it'll allow you to bring somebody in from outside, or it'll only let somebody who got disconnected reconnect. That it's not in there, but they're sorry, ArenaNet's sorry for the delay, but it's finally added in. Second thing, which is a really big, which I didn't expect to happen, but a lot of people were complaining about how fractal levels is kind of driving the community apart, where like, I don't want to play with you because you're level 3 and I'm level 7, and I want to do level 7 fractals, but you're only level 3, so we can't do it, or I don't want to play with you. So they've changed that, and I'll read this because it's a pretty cool concept. So at party creation, players can choose any fractal level up to the highest fractal level in the party. Upon completion of the fractal run, all players equal to or lower than the fractal level, or the chosen fractal level, will have their fractal level increased by 1. All players above the chosen fractal level will gain karma, but their fractal level will not increase. Rewards from the fractal will be based on player's personal reward level, as long as the reward level is equal to or lower than the fractal level chosen. For example, and the example they give is 5 players. 1 is at level 2, 3 of them are at level 21, and 1 of them is at level 53. Player 2 makes the party, so the fractal is set at level 21. The party goes to beat 3 fractals. There are 3 fractal, then there's the results at the end. That player 1, who is level 2, now gets boosted to level 3. The 3 players that were at level 21 all get boosted up to level 22. And player 5, because he was fractal level 53, which was above the level that they were playing at, which was 21, they are still level 53, but they get karma for helping instead. So there's actually now incentive to go back and play with people from lower levels, because you'll still get bumped up, which is cool. And again, like I said, the whole point of this is to encourage the community to kind of be together. And they planned on putting these 2 features into play at the end of January. And they say the end of January, which makes me think, that's almost something that could be included in an expansion's worth of content. So maybe that means we won't be seeing the January content update till the end of January rather than like mid-January like we've seen for all the other updates.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's pretty much it for the news about the fractals and what's coming up. We do know they're planning on adding more variety of fractals later on, and they are planning on adding new fractals altogether. But that, we don't know when. Presumably January with this update. But if not, some point in the future. So, I guess now, if we want, Kaysee, we can kind of talk about what are your opinions, lore-wise and otherwise, about the Fractals of the Mist? How do you feel?
Yeah, and to everyone as well, while I'm talking, please put your opinions into the chat box, and we might call you, put it out for everyone to see and discuss it. But basically, I really like the Fractals. It is a wonderful storytelling mechanic that has a lot of potential. I don't like ArenaNet's current train of thought of introducing these really kind of confusing, almost like lore bombshells and not following it up with anything, and making us feel like it's just what just happened, that kind of thing. Like with, I like being able to explore past events, and I think that is something that can be really explored on. And also, in Halloween or something like that, you can explore Halloween pasts, or, it is very good for themed holidays, and it's a great storytelling mechanic. And I love that you can just add new things in, and it would be very easy to do new things. So I generally really like it. I don't like the level system, but that's me personally. I know people do like it. I don't like the agony just for the
You haven't
fractals.
are you at level 10 yet?
No, no, no. But I don't
Then
like.
how can you know you don't like it?
No, I don't like how it's introduced just for the fractals. It's like nowhere else is agony applicable, only in the fractals.
Well, so far they said they're planning on implementing it elsewhere
But I mean,
in
what's
future dungeons.
yeah, yeah.
Or
But
maybe go
it's.
back and put it in old dungeons.
I personally do not like it, but who cares? It was
Okay.
basically like, if I don't like it, that's fine if I don't like it. But it doesn't really matter if that's the new mechanic, and I hope that they do something a lot better with it, and that it's not kind of, I feel like, gimmicky like it does right now.
Okay. Well, I just want to point out, Cardalina in the chat said, "Is this the first time we know of Asura is doing time travel?" And most excited because Wintersday Past, which I agree would be so much better than Wintersday Present, because it was off, in my opinion. Well done in certain aspects, like everything but Ticks and the main part of Wintersday. Everything else was great. Ticks, anyway. And then she says, "Will the Mersat come back since we have Spectral Agony, and the Seers gave us Ascended Armor?" I think it's a very good chance. I think we might see that in another Fractal. Jal says, "No, there's a certain storyline about time travel and your character becoming the evil overlord of Tyria." I haven't played my Asura enough, so that sounds interesting to me, though. And as we know, like I said, the mists transcend time and space. The only other person that may have ever been able to do that was Lord Audrin, I believe his name was the first person to discover the portals into the mist. But if we're going to actually be talking about the mist next week, we'll touch on that more then.
An interesting thing about time travel is that it was in Guild Wars 1, but it wasn't Azura, I don't think. Remember one of the... I think it was...
April Fools?
Yeah, April Fools with the helicopters and stuff like that.
The Terminator storyline?
Yeah. So there's that time travel, it's explained in it, but I don't think we've reached a point in time where they're coming back, but I don't think we've reached a point of time where it was created yet. Because Dessa definitely seems like she's from the future.
Yeah. Commando, exactly. Ella Carolina. I loved those events. I loved going back to pre-searing with a character that wasn't my perma pre-searing character.
Hey, we've just got some technical difficulties, so if you could just hold on a tick, that'd be great.
It's all Kaysee's fault.
3, 2. Alright, and we're back. Sorry about that, everyone.
Yeah, it's Casey's fault. She's in Australia.
Yeah.
So, what are you gonna do? But anyway, God, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, April Fools and past Christmas time travel. Yeah, I hope they bring back. El Carolina mentioned the Commandos in. Do we think we'll bring them back? And like I had said, they already made the models for that video, for the April Fool's video, as that being one of the unreleased classes for Guild Wars 2. So the models are already in the game. The resources are there. I don't think it'd be too difficult for them to just kind of switch what the engineer or the warrior has for rifle skills and the grenade skills and things, and make that an actual character class that you could play. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
So I hope, only a few months away, maybe that's what we'll see.
I had so much trouble with the engineer though, getting people to accept it.
It's still not accepted.
I enjoy it.
In my mind. Yeah, it's alright. Thomas Engine's the best though.
Yeah.
They'll have to finish doing that.
Alright, Lag, what are your opinions on it?
As per usual in most of these situations, I agree with you. Pretty much in every aspect. I like it. It has a lot of good positives. Ascended gear is a cool thing. It's kind of novelty at this point. Eventually, like we said, it's going to be important once you can have a full set of ascended gear, and that 8% increase turns into like a 50% increase. Good luck competing with somebody in World versus World when they're 1.5 times better than you. But it's cool. I like the system. The mechanic of it makes a lot of sense to me because it's extremely easy to add new fractals without changing the game too much, which I think is a cool idea, and they should do. I like, rather than having to open up an entirely new zone, this gives them the ability to expand on things they've already done.
Yeah.
So, good job on that point for being kind of innovative with keeping. And like I said, it doesn't really. It's just a portal from Lion's Arch, and then then they just build these random other levels out in the middle of nowhere, and that's that. So it was clever, and yes, I don't like the level mechanic because it does drive the community apart. I don't like that it's not account bound. Makes sense to me why it's not, but it would be nice if it could be.
Yeah, it's a little tedious trying to get all the characters up to that level.
So it's basically pick your fractal character. And which one are you going to do fractals with? Because then you're going to have to go do it all again if you want to use another one. But at least you're auto leveled to 80, so there's that. But anyway, that's pretty much where I stand. I don't know.
Yeah. So generally, fractals, mechanic-wise, thumbs up. Low-wise, pretty cool. I hope you
Yeah.
I hope that everyone feels a little bit more knowledgeable about fractals, about DESA. There's a not really concrete law, but there is a lot of speculation as to what things could be. And it's just generally, I think it really fills out some, not gaps, but it makes you curious about certain things and what direction they're going to take it. But yeah, so I hope that made everyone a little bit more knowledgeable about fractals of the mists.
Yeah. I would like to. Jal put it in our chat there, but I'll read it off. Colin Johansson just put an update on the forum 10 hours ago, and he states, quote, "Hey guys, just to help provide some clarity on this, we'll be releasing within the next couple of weeks a high-level summary of our big plans for the first half of 2013 to help provide more transparency on our plans with the game going forward. This will include providing more details about our goals for the game, information about the stories and features that you'll see in the January, February, March releases." Now they're lumping March into there as well. To set expectations accordingly, the January release will be relatively small release. That changed. That sets the table for the stories and features we plan to roll out within the February, March releases and beyond. Also, there will be no new race, profession, or new region with these larger February-March releases. So there goes that. One of our major goals with these releases is making our existing world as strong as possible, ensuring there are reasons to go to all the locations in the world we've already built, which I'm thinking means activities in the main towns, like the shooting gallery and Polymock and all that kind of stuff. Ensuring there are reasons to go up, like I said, and strengthening the core game we've provided. In saying this will be an expansion's worth of stuff in these releases. We're talking about the number of new features that will be rolled out across PvE, World v World, and PvP in early 2013, which usually you'd only find an expansion for a traditional MMO. More details and specifics to come in the next couple of weeks, but I hope that helps provide some more insight into what to expect at a very high level. So.
Well, I'm kind of glad that they're getting the idea that they shouldn't hype things up too much.
They're learning.
Yeah, to promote transparency and getting everyone's expectation levels. Because there was a lot of hype going on, especially for the events like Halloween and all that sort of stuff.
Well, I feel Halloween delivered.
Halloween was a lot better than Wintersday in the sense of delivering.
Yeah, but Mad King, everything was just awesome.
Yeah, but don't forget they said, oh, this is going to be a one-time event, make sure you're there, and all it was the Mad King popping out of the fountain in a cinematic.
Yeah, no, I know. It wasn't worth wasting my day and waiting around for him to pop out of a fountain.
And getting up at 3 a.m.
Well, yeah, like Alec Cardinalina says, maybe they'll put in guesting. That would be great.
That would be great if
something they were promised from the get-go. Yeah.
I think this update is probably going to be just updating things that they said that they'll put in. They never did. Guesting would be fantastic.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you've got. He said reasons to go back to the worlds they've already made and everything. Which, like I said, if you were to put all the activities, as you can see if you look in your achievement tab, the Bar Brawl achievements are there underneath Keg Brawl, which is another one they've been talking up since the beginning. So Bar Brawl will probably be one of the releases. There's the shooting gallery that we know. I mean, we don't know what all of them are. We know Polymock will be one of the Asura ones. Carolina mentions depositing your dungeon tokens in a collectibles tab would also be great.
They already have the deposit collectible thing there. It's just grayed out.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a thing.
So they're definitely going to put that in, I think.
Okay, so that's one thing. The shooting gallery in Divinity's Reach, which you can go to a point of interest and you can just look at it.
Because Lord Codicus has made a private list. I talked to the lady the other day. I'm like, why can't we play? And she's like, because Lord Codicus says that, only a select few people can do this.
Not
Codicus.
I don't even know what the Sylvari would have. We have no idea what it would even be. Like what would the Norn will have a bunch. We don't know what the Char would have either. Like what their activities would be, and originally it was supposed to be 5 per city.
Ooh, I know the Sylvari one. It would be Plants vs Zombies.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. That's probably what that would be. Tower defense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean that would be something that they promised. And then they said, I'm assuming it's going to be large updates to South Sun Cove because nobody goes there. People still farm ore because they hate the Karka.
They're hard. They're really hard.
Yeah, they are. So maybe they'll add in more events, maybe like a world event, more NPCs, maybe more like outposts, if you will, more waypoints. Yeah, Al Carnelian says maybe they'll finish the fountain and tower and Lion's Arch and then destroy it again. Flower growing contest for the Sylvari might also be something. That would be kind of interesting.
Oh, I have to quickly mention shout out to Jalina because he showed me that there's actually a new building that I think he thinks is a lighthouse. Which is near the lighthouse, but just a little further on. It's a new building under construction. So we think that's going to be the new lighthouse that's going to come up. Hopefully fixed in the next update.
maybe we'll actually get to do something with those targets that you see on the top of the cliffs in Lion's Arch
Yeah.
that serve no purpose currently. Maybe we'll get like a shooting type game
Yeah.
to shoot at the targets. Yeah. The door that doesn't lead anywhere. Yeah. There's lots of interesting things.
It's a space. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
It's like, it looks like it's like some guy was like, quick, just make it look like we're doing something. Just, slap him on a door here.
Yep. So, I mean, yeah. So there's lots of... They've learned, clearly, they learned on Christmas, don't tell us when the content's going to release. Because everybody was waiting and waiting for Halloween and it didn't release on time. So they gave us an ambiguous time before midnight tonight when they were going to add in the new, when they're going to add in the new Wintersday content. They've learned that it's probably better. Well, they're like, it's an expansion's worth of content, and they're like, well, when we said that, what we meant was it's more like this.
Yeah.
It's not really an expansion, because an expansion would be new areas and new races and stuff, but it's not that. It's just like, we're calling it an expansion, but really we're calling it like this is to help us take our foot out of our mouth for saying we're going to put all this stuff in the game in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's like our bad, we promised you this and we didn't give it to you, but like here it is for freeze.
Yeah.
So just forget that we ever said that in the past. And the January, February update is now January, February, March update. Yeah.
But that's probably about it for Fractals of the Mist and for the
Some
news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to throw this out there. Kaysee and I talked about this. Possibly, I know we don't have a huge following, but we possibly talked about doing a question of the week kind of a thing and put a question out and then we'll compile all the answers and we'll talk about the answers on air. If we start getting a lot of answers back, maybe we'll pick the best one, maybe we'll give a prize to the best answer. I don't know, we're still working it out, but we'll try it this week, see how it goes, maybe give like a 2-week probation. If it doesn't work, we'll just forget it. But here is my question for you guys. Based on everything we just talked about, what are you most excited about, and what do you think that we'll get that will be the big hit for the new content that's going to come out in January, February, and March? What do you want to come out idealistically, and what do you realistically think will happen and will be everybody's favorite? So so that's the question. What are you guys looking forward to in January, February, and March? Send us... Go ahead, Kaysee.
Don't say Tengu because they're not coming.
Yeah, that's true. Even though the strategy guide says that they were planning on putting them in the game, but they didn't have time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so send us your responses and leave them on our Facebook channel. Post them on the forums.
Send them to
comment
us.
on the YouTube video. Send it to us at hosts@chroniclesateria.com. We haven't gotten a mail in like months at this point. So come on, Yes, heartbroken, according to Kaysee. Yeah, send us a mail, even if it's just like, hey, what you guys doing? We don't have any other mails that we're sorting through.
I like that. Like, hey, what you doing?
If you've got a community or a guild that you want us to highlight on the next show, send us, your webpage and we'll put it on there. Who uses emails? Is Alec Pardolina. Oh, that's right. Well, funny that Kaysee didn't mention Jalinar's hate mail from the last podcast, because he did send that and I heard about it, but she did not say anything about it.
It's because he sent me hate mail. He said it's hate mail. But thank you for my Christmas present, Jal.
Yeah. No, I know. December is kind of a slow month. Hopefully things will kind of ramp up more here in January. But yeah, if you've got a suggestion for a topic, we're revamping what topics we're going to talk about lore-wise. If you'd like to get on for an interview, have us talk about your community or what have you, Send it to us in an email. Find us on, follow us on Twitter. Find us on Facebook. Yes, that's another thing I guess we can point out that Zenshi mentioned. Ruby Bayer, community manager for ArenaNet, joined our guild. So, that's a thing.
Yay for us.
So, I mean, hey, there's more incentive to join Chronicles of Tyria right there.
Though she never talks to us very much.
No, but she's there. So, there you go. Alright, before this gets ridiculous, but I think we're already there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and Alucardalina is supposed to show us our favorite spot in Tyria. Commander Alucardalina gonna show us her favorite spot on the Citadel of Tyria.
All right.
It's fine.
All right.
Mass Effect fans get it. So anyway, right. So thank you everybody that came out and listened for episode number 29 of the Chronicles of Tyria podcast. I'm Lagwyn.
I'm Kaysee.
And we'll see you next time.